you want to use the punchiest hooks you possibly can because you want it to almost be jarring. Like when they read it, like you want them to read one line or a couple words and be hooked in. So it has to be super punchy. I'm Josh.
And I'm Laura.
And this is the Devising Good podcast where we talk about how to create understanding and provoke action using video. All right, so last time you asked a very good question, and it kind of led us to start talking about where is your video going to live? And that was very insightful and very helpful because like it's such a key question to answer. And when we talk about live, where is it going to live? It's not like, are you storing it in Google Drive or
Right.
Google or Dropbox or something, but like, where is it going to be used essentially? And it's key to answer that question so you can develop and build the right kind of video.
Okay.
So I thought of this analogy.
Okay.
So it's kind of like real estate, right? So it's all about location, right? So if it's all about location, then like, you know, you're probably not going to want like a super wide home in an urban setting or a 4 to 5 story house in the burbs. Like that isn't going to work, right? And so going back to video, if my iPad would work correctly, like the idea with that is like you want to figure out where are you going to be interacting with people? And from there, you figure out, okay, now that I have the location nailed down, where am I going to build the house? How should I build the house based off of the location? How should I build this video based off of where this customer interaction is going to happen?
Okay. Tell me more about the options
audience.
of like where those options can be then.
Great question. So I wrote down a list of them, and there can be more, but I think some of these will give people an idea of at least a handful of things.
Okay.
So trade shows. If you think about trade shows, so this could be like conferences where there is a floor space for vendors, right? So it could literally be any kind of conference, but you are a vendor at a booth, you have a video.
Don't think I would have thought about that one.
Right.
Okay.
And so like I've worked on a couple videos for vendors at like in a booth, and the key thing is because it's at a booth,
Yeah.
like you've been to conferences and things with that, like one of the hardest things to do is like not talk to people, but hear anything else besides somebody who's very close to you.
Sure.
Or anything like that.
Right.
So audio, you have to build the video without audio. So if the it's kind of like you want to make sure that it's like honestly like mostly text.
Okay.
So we've done I've done a couple videos where you know, it's just a couple like for ArcCyber, right? One of my absolute favorite clients. Shout out ArcCyber, the Safety Net podcast. You should check that one out. So Sean came to me and he was like, I'm gonna be at these conferences, and we were talking about like he's like, I'm gonna have a TV. What should I put on it, right? And we came up with just a very simple kind of loop of some stock videos with his messaging on it, like kinetic moving text on it.
So it caught people's attention.
It caught people's attention.
But they didn't have to be there forever.
Right. And so like, you know, some of the imagery was like, wait, what's going on here? And then there was the text that said, hey, here's the problem. Here's the solution.
Nice.
Here's the problem. Here's the solution. And there's a QR code always on screen so people could just scan it and then go on.
Nice.
I think that like thinking about like, do you remember that Super Bowl commercial where it was just a QR code that was like kind of moving around?
Yes, it was so brilliant.
Right. Like, it was very intriguing.
Like, what
and
does it say?
I think
Yeah.
why that worked
Yeah.
is because people were in front of TVs.
Okay.
I have seen some people not realize, like, they've not built the video to match the medium where it's going to live.
Okay.
And because of that, they like it's on somebody there, the person's watching the video on the phone, and then a QR code pops up. The problem with that,
You can't get to your
you can't scan the
You can't
QR
get to your
code.
camera?
Now,
Okay.
there is a way to do it. You can screenshot it. Then, like,
Oh,
there's
sure.
like different ways you can go about,
but it's
like,
not
getting
intuitive.
that.
It
The
sounds
way
like.
QR codes are meant, you pull out your phone, open the camera, and scan it like that.
Okay.
That's a simple way of doing it. And yet, any other way just gets super complicated.
Yeah.
So when you're at a trade show, that's
Mm-hmm.
perfect because there's always like a quick, accessible way of getting people to a next step.
Okay.
Or more information. So, again, that's a no audio, heavy on text, punchy, short. And I would even say, like, maybe multiple different kinds of messaging that loops, because, like, maybe somebody catches it at one end or catches it at another. Maybe somebody decides to stand there for a few seconds and watches the whole thing. That way you kind of suck them in into multiple levels of your messaging.
Yeah.
Versus they're just seeing the same thing over and over.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. When I've been to conferences,
Yeah.
I don't always even want to, like, go up to the booth. You don't want to get trapped in a conversation if you
Right.
aren't actually interested.
Yes.
And so I can see that being helpful, like, to be able to see it from a distance of, like, oh, I actually do want to go over there.
Right.
Like, get into a conversation.
So the video in that case would do its job
Right.
of kind of self-selecting who is this for
Yeah,
and who
that's
is it not for.
Right. 'Cause actually, that's true. The person at the vendor, like, doesn't want to waste their time with the wrong person either.
No, right. Yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, I think most people are like that. Like, they only want to really talk to somebody who they're actually interested in the thing. And sometimes
Right.
you want to know about it a little bit beforehand.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a great way of doing it. Yeah. So trade shows, social media, right? So what's interesting about social media is it's very similar to the trade show, except audio is important.
Okay.
It's similar to the trade show in that you want to make sure that if this video is built for social media, there will be text, whether it's just captions or it's kind of built that way for having text in it, like kinetic text on there. However, if somebody is truly interested in the video, they'll actually tap on it, and then they're actually able to hear the audio, and
Right.
that's where it's super important to have really good audio. So, the hook, people shouldn't miss. Like, you don't want people to have to, like, rewind. So to build the video in such a way to where it's like they're not missing a beat because you have the text on there, and as soon as they tap on it, they're just kind of the experience with the video is sort of seamless.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I never thought about that.
So because when you're thinking about social media, you want something that will grab you because people are scrolling, so you want to stop the scroll, right? Get their attention. And then if they're really interested and they tap on it, then you're able to kind of enter into that seamlessly. But if you don't have good audio, that's an immediate turn off.
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful about that.
Yeah.
Another thing is your website.
Okay.
So it's going to be very important to have so make sure you position your video as far up as possible, because if you have I'm assuming this is an explainer video. So if you have an explainer video like right up front, then people are able to see if this is for them, if you're for them, that kind of thing.
And would that kind of video be totally different than what you would use at a trade show or on social media? Or
So I feel like you could, man, it kind of depends, because honestly, like with the trade show example, especially, you want to use the punchiest hooks you possibly can, because you want it to almost be jarring. Like when they read it, like you want them to read one line or a couple words and be hooked in. So it has to be super punchy. If you if they end up on your website and click on a video, there's a little bit more grace.
okay.
Because they're already there, and the fact that they clicked on a video, like that's a few more steps than somebody walking by in a trade show floor.
Okay. Makes sense.
Social
again,
media is
yeah.
almost the same with the punchiness.
Right.
Like I know, like a lot of social media videos, like they'll have the hook text stay on screen for a few seconds of like what the video is about, and then they'll move on to the content of it. But with the website video, again, you don't want it to be, hey, if you like this video so far, please make sure you like and subscribe, maybe hit the bell notification, but please make sure you do that. All right, we'll keep going. You want it to hook people quickly, but you almost hook them in a slight, like, they're more invested in watching it already.
So you're explaining more.
Right. And so, and that's more of the whole, like, I would say, this is my personal opinion. I'm not even sure if this is, I should ask some of my other people I know who work in this world, but I would say the video, most people are going to come to your website using a mobile device. That is by and far most people, unless you work in a very like office setting where people are going to be like on their laptop searching for you. Like by and large, most people are going to look at your website on their phone. When we're talking about social media videos, you want to go vertical. It just suits the platform way better. I'd argue you can get away with having the horizontal, like what most people think of when they think of a video. It's the 1920 by 1080 kind of horizontal video. You can have that on your website, and people are more like more forgiving for it to be in that format versus, even if they're visiting on their mobile phone, versus having a vertical video. So you could get away with that. So your website is definitely someplace where you're going to want video, especially if you're driving traffic there, and if you're wanting people to like quickly understand like, is this for them and how is it for them? Like, and maybe even to like even connect with you, like what are these people about, like what's their tone like based off of this video. Like that's going to be important. I have had, so another avenue that you could potentially have a touch point is your sales team. So if you're a small business, or I mean even some nonprofits too, depending on kind of what if you're like interacting with your audience, say in person.
Okay.
I've done videos where like the sales team had the video that was built for their iPad.
Okay.
And they would be having a conversation, and then they're like, well, hold on, let me show
talking
you
about with
this.
a client.
With a client.
Okay.
And they show the video to the client, and that was a way to enable the sales team to just quickly show them what the value
Interesting.
is, all those different things, to
Just to
explain a
like
couple
save
things,
time or
to save time, to be consistent, to engage with the client.
okay.
So anyways, that's one way you could do it.
Interesting.
Presentations. So if we're talking like you're presenting in a conference room or something, having a video to kind of kick off the presentation, or to kind of grab people into, okay, let's set the stage for what we're about to talk about.
Okay.
That's another way.
Interesting.
Emails. I have there's been a number of times where, and so I'm talking about different kinds of videos here too. You can sign up for Loom. I love that app. It's great. You can kind of do a screen sharing thing with your video in the corner.
Oh, nice.
And like talk through a certain thing. You can have like I've seen even in people's email signatures sometimes, but like having video as a way to like maybe break down the digital barrier and kind of say, hey, I'm a human, and making sure that like you tailor make that video for that client. Like,
Oh, you're talking about just for one client.
yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So you could have something that's like the standard thing, like an explainer video or whatever.
Okay.
But to like make a video for, and again, like using something like Loom, one, you can see when people have seen it,
Nice.
but you can just quickly make something that's pretty high quality that kind of walks somebody through something.
Okay.
So
Yep.
I really like that idea. I absolutely love sending videos to my clients and helping them like, hey, this is me. So one, if I can't get you on the phone, or like I know you're busy, so I'm gonna make something super short, but I want you to see my face. I want you to hear my tone. And if you're not connecting with me that way, then maybe we're not supposed to work together, you know? So
It almost
that
sounds
kind
like
of
a
thing.
polo, like what you should do with
Right,
friends.
right.
And that almost is like, I mean, I just thinking about it
100%
right now,
true.
it's like you're breaking down a barrier and almost being like, not necessarily friend level, but kind of.
Right.
You know?
Yes. And
That's fun.
it's a video message, just like a Marco
It's like
Polo.
nobody
Yes.
expects when it's just to you.
Right. Right.
Through an email.
Especially when you use the client's name, when you say something specific to them instead of a generic script.
Right. Right.
So I love that. Keynotes, board presentations, like there are so many different avenues that you could potentially use video. But based off of what you're doing, again, you have to build the video for the location that it's going to be at.
Right.
Now you can repurpose some videos. Like you can take, like I've had people where we recorded their keynote presentation.
Okay.
We put that on YouTube, but then I took it later and then cut it up into shorts, like kind of YouTube shorts and Instagram reels and things like that. So it's a vertical video now with the on-screen text and things like that. So it's a way of repurposing the content, but I wasn't going to just put this hour-long vertical video on Instagram, you know?
Right.
So just, again, figuring out where's the location. Let's tailor make the video to fit the location best.
Don't Instagram and Facebook even have different links if they'll let you play something, or is that something that happened in the past?
There are different links, and I think it's also based off of your account.
Okay.
And most people, like, unless it's a lives, like Instagram lives will be able to like be on there for a very long time. YouTube, there's not really that length.
Right.
But Facebook. But Instagram does have more limits.
Okay.
And even TikTok or any of those.
Just curious.
Yeah. So yeah, those are kind of those are a bunch of examples for where you could have videos. But if you think about, okay, I almost feel like the question is, where am I engaging with my audience, whether it's online, whether it's in person, and I need to make a connection. Where do I need to create understanding? Where do I need to provoke action? Like, maybe you can use a video for that.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't have to be a crazy explainer video. It doesn't have to be a mini documentary. It can literally just be an iPhone video or something like that. But if you figure out those places, it just really makes a difference. And when you tailor make the video to that format, there's not a hurdle. You just kind of help them seamlessly enter into what you're trying to tell them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Really quick, is the like email videos you would do, is that really easy to do? Is that like a low hanging fruit sort of thing?
Yes.
It's not like a lot of production goes into that.
No. So like go to Loom, I think it's loom.com. And there's like some free, I think they're free tier. You have to make it very short and you're only able to record a certain amount. Like they have a certain amount of storage you can have. So I've used it before I got the paid version, and just like, hey, I'm gonna record this, and it kept me on point to be concise, because I think it was like up to 5 minutes. I had to be concise. And then once I was done and the video was sent, after I needed maybe after a couple weeks and the client didn't need that video anymore, delete it, make a new one. So that's like even a free way of doing it.
Got it.
But the paid version is like $10 a month.
Oh, yeah.
And like you can download videos. They have like an AI, it auto generates the transcript, and you can edit the video just by the transcript. So you can like highlight sections, delete them. So if you, like me, say a lot of ums or you like start going and you're like, I just lost my train of thought, you can pause, pick up where you left off, and then cut it out. And then there's a jump cut, but like nobody cares. So something like that is just and you do with whatever microphone you have, whatever webcam you have on your laptop, whatever. And it's a very awesome way to showcase what you're trying to show them, anything like that. So
cool.
You should check it out. Loom.com.
That sounds really cool.
And Loom, you should sponsor me. No. I'm like a Loom advocate. Like it's like one of the best. Anyways.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's about it. Remember, it's like real estate. Location. Okay, so just some practical things to think about. Where are 3 touch points that you have with your audience? So is it on your website? Is it mainly through social media? Is it an in-person experience? Like, where are those 3 primary high traffic touch points with your audience? So write those 3 things down. Then figure out, okay, what do you want to say to people in those moments? So during those specific touch points, is there a different message for each one of those 3 touch points? Is it the same message? What is it that your client, your customer, your audience needs to hear at those touch points? And then number 3, what kind of video would work in that situation? So based off of the location of the video, that touch point, and what you want to say to them, what kind of video do you need to build? Do you need to build a vertical video? Is it at a trade show and so you need to make it all text? Is it on your website, or is it going to be through email? Figure out what kind of video you need to build and then go build it. And if you need help thinking through any of that, please let me know. And don't forget to please like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And if you want, I have an email newsletter that you can sign up for to get different tips about how to use video to create understanding and provoke action.